is to assure both the creditors at the operating subs and the regulators at the operating subs that those subs can remain open for business and won't be intervened by the regulators and won't have a significant run on them by their creditors. And the design of the system has to work to provide those reassurances.
We're just about out of time, but maybe we'll take that one more question over there.
Thank you. So this bridge bank concept, is it like an open bank assistance? And I had done some research years ago on density because I worked on a request for open bank assistance. And your general counsel, you understand these things. So so the creditors do get cut off, and in the event that God forbid, you do have to set up, because I know with I think with Bank of New England, did you set up a bridge bank so that in effect, the enterprise could continue to operate and you wound down the derivatives book and these kinds of things, and I think the creditors had to go through the general process, or is it going to be, we really didn't cut off the creditors, we really are at risk for getting, any assistance put in, we get litigated, and so the whole problem with dense doom comes up. Could you speak to this? It might be too far for the audience.
Well, under when we do a bridge bank, we leave the liabilities behind, we move the assets over. To the extent there are claims, they're handled in the receivership. So to the extent their creditors would have claims, they would be given certificates and get a value based on whatever is in that receivership estate. Dense doom would apply to the extent that we're dealing with the receivership process. Actually, as I mentioned before, pretty much all of the FDIC superpowers come into play. Dense doom, for the audience purposes, is the ability, basically it says that the regulators are entitled to rely on the books and records in the institution, and if contracts or agreements that are made outside of that are not going to be binding, and so they get wiped out. And that's one of the things that happens. The liabilities get taken care of, and then this new institution then, based on whatever's left, we would recapitalize it and would move forward.
Yes.
Could I just make one short point as a question? I think that we have to think about a lot of these questions from a systemic perspective. And the U.S. is not at all at the highest risk here. I'm thinking of Europe, where the banking sectors are, on average, 3.5 times the size of the economy. How do you think of bail-in in that context, and the distribution of bail-in risk in that context, right? Who is going to, I mean, in some ways it's the securitization question all over again. Are we really spreading the risk, or are we just going to put it under a table where we're going to discover it and it's going to explode, perhaps, hopefully not in Paul's IRA, but...
Right.
Well, I think like a great...
It ought to fail. It ought to explode. Paul buys... No, seriously.
Yeah,
but Paul buys long-term debt of a SIFI, and it goes down.
Right.
It ought to explode in his IRA, but he shouldn't have more than 5% of his
my
debt.
asset manager doing
that's
that
right.
for me. I want to make that decision on my own.
Well, I think like a great television series, that may be a perfect way to end the panel. Until next time, I know we can talk more about it. As moderator, been an honor to moderate such a distinguished panel, and for the audience, I was wondering if you'd give all of our panel a big hand for a great discussion.